Okay, so in this video, we're going to talk about how to solve a system when we have three variables. We know how to do it when we have two variables, just x and y, but now we are going to add a z, and you can see on this main screen off to the right what we're talking about, where now we're talking about a three-dimensional situation, and you can see your x-axis is in blue, the y-axis is in green like you're used to, but now we would add a third axis, the z-axis. So we have three equations here. I've labeled them equation 1, 2, and 3 to try to help you see as we go through this what is going on. When you are trying to solve this, you're trying to figure out where these three equations, these three lines will cross one another. So you're looking for a point which will have an x value, a y value, and a z value. So you can see our first step is look at your equations and decide which variable is going to be the easiest to eliminate first. In this case, I chose to eliminate x. So I kept equation 1 the way it was, and then I'm going to multiply equation 2 by -2. And that's going to give me an x coefficient of -4. So when I add these two together, that x is going to drop out. But it's important that I make sure I multiply everything by -2. And you can see that in my first step here. So I have -4x plus 6y minus 10z equals 28. I am now going to add these two things together. And when I do, I get 8y minus 7z equals 29. Now it's a good idea to just double check my math, look it over, make sure I'm okay. And I think I'm good. So next, we'll go down. And now we're going to eliminate the same variable again. So we're going to eliminate x again, but now we have to use two different equations in order to do that. So this time I'm going to take, So this time we're going to take equation 1 and equation 3. So I'm going to multiply equation 1 by 3, which will get us 12x plus 6y plus 9z equals 3. And we're going to multiply equation 3 by -2. Now you'll see that that now gives us -12x, so that when we add these two things together, those x's are going to drop out, which is important. So we will add 8y plus z equals 5 is our solution. Now we're going to take those two answers from step 1 and step 2 and combine them, okay? So here's our two answers, 8y minus 7z equals 29 and 8y plus z equals 5. We are now going to eliminate another variable, and this time I chose to eliminate y. So I'm going to multiply that second equation by -1, which is what that times -1 there on the right-hand side of the screen is. And you can see how that second equation transformed into -8y minus z equals -5. And next I will add those. And through a little bit of division, we get z equals -3. Now that's good. That means we now know one of our variables. That will help us find our other two. So we're going to take those two options we had from step 3, 8y plus 7z equals 29, and 8y plus z equals 5, and decide which one would be easier for me to plug in the z value of -3 to figure out the y value. I think the second one was easier, so that was the one I chose, but it really didn't matter. You could have chosen the first one. You can see I substituted -3 in z's spot, added 3 to both sides, divide by 8, and now I know y is 1. Now I know two values. I know y and z. So I'm going to take both of those and plug them into any one of my original. It doesn't matter which one I use. I just want to try and find the one that I think is going to be the easiest, which in my mind, easiest means less likely to make a mistake. So I plugged in y is 1 and z is -3. I did a little bit of calculating there. 2 times 1, 3 times -3. You can see it as it works down. Add 7 to both sides, divide by 4, and that gave me x is 2. Now that told me my solution was 2, 1, -3, but it's super important that I double check that. So I take my three equations, I plug in what I believe my solution to be, 2, 1, -3, and each time as I check, you can see that it worked out. Now that check phase might appear to be a waste of time, but it's not. That is how you will know whether you are absolutely correct or not, because if it didn't work in any one of those situations, then your solution cannot be 2, 1, -3.